Hello all, welcome to another session in which we discuss about the size dependent properties. That means uh, the difference between the bulk size and the nano size and what happened to the properties when the materials are converted from a bulk to a nano size. So nano versus bulk. You see the picture in which the man is holding a gold bulk material. Bulk means it's a large one, the gold material. Usually, we know that the gold looks a shining yellow. But when the gold is converted to a small size, it becomes a red color. So its optical property changes. So this is a simple example to understand how the properties changes when we convert the material to a nano size. Now we look into the difference between the atoms, nanoparticles, and the bulk materials. So when we consider an atom, it is of a few angstrom size, 10 to the minus 10 meter, and nanoparticle is 10 to the power minus 9 meter size, and a bulk materials of few microns are higher than that. And when we consider the number of constituting particles, an atom has one atom or one or two atoms may combine to form a molecule. But nano contains several thousand of atoms, and bulk it is an infinite number of atoms. It holds many atoms together. When we consider the electronic structure, the atoms or molecules have confined electronic structures. Their orbitals are confined to a particular region. In nanoparticles also, there are some few thousand atoms only. So this is also a confined one. But bulk, there are huge number of infinite atoms or molecules. So it is not confined to a particular region. It is a wide spread. The geometric structure, the atoms and molecules have a well-defined geometrical structure that can be a predictable one. And nano is also a predictable, well-defined structure. Crystal structure of bulk material decides the shape and size of the material. So this tabular column, that means the difference between these three, helps us to understand the difference between an atom and a nano or a bulk. That is, the nano is in between the atom and bulk materials. The size dependent properties. The properties of the material changes as the size approaches to a nano size. So what happens then? The percentage of atoms at the surface of the material becomes significant. And as I said you, the surface to volume ratio is goes on increasing. For bulk material larger than 1 micrometer, the percentage of atom at the surface is very less relatively when we compare to a nanosize. See the exposed corner of gold atoms. The bending of bulk copper, that is the copper wire or ribbon, occurs with the movement of copper atoms or clusters at the 50 nanometer scale. The copper nanoparticles smaller than 50 nanometers are considered as super hard material. They do not exhibit the malleability and ductility, but usually the copper wires exhibit the malleability and ductility at the bulk size, but in nano size, they are so tough, they don't exhibit those properties. The ferroelectric material, considering that, particularly the memory, so the 10 nanometer scale small ferroelectric material switch the magnetism directions even at room temperature. So these ferroelectric materials at the nanosites are not used for memory storage because for memory storage we need a permanent ferroelectric material things. The nanomaterials often has an unexpected visible properties, particularly when they're small enough to confine the electrons and produce quantum effects. As I told you the example, this one, the bulk gold is yellow color and the nano gold looks red color. So it shows a different optical property. This is due to high surface to volume ratio. And the large surface to volume ratio plays a very important effect in melting temperature of a nanoparticle. See, the gold nanoparticle melts at much lower temperature, that is approximately 300 degrees Celsius at 2.5 nanometer size. But a gold bulk material melts at 1064 degrees Celsius. When we consider about a UV blocking property, we know that zinc oxide particles have been found a very high superior UV blocking properties when they are at nanoscale than at their bulk scale. So all these properties mainly happens due to the increase in surface to volume ratio. See the optical properties, how the beautiful color changes when the size changes. This can be explained by the quantum effects. And the formation of a suspension. You see, the formation of a suspension. This is possible since the interaction of particles with the surface, with the solvent is strong enough to overcome the density differences. In bulk material, this interaction usually results in the material either sinking or floating in a liquid. But in a nanoscale, the colloidal suspension is a stable one. Magnetization and other properties. So these magnetic properties and other properties are very well explained by the quantum confinement effect or a surface plasma resonance, which helps to understand the semiconducting property of the nanomaterials and superparamagnetism of our nanomaterials. So this diagram explains the quantum dots size decreases from the red color to blue, and the conduction bands also is decreasing, and the energy between the valency band and conduction band is increasing. So this quantum confinement effect, that is the quantum dot effect, changes when the size becomes smaller and smaller and smaller. So this increasing energy gap changes the emission of colors, because the wavelength which is coming out from the conduction band to the valency band is being changing. That's why the color is going on change. The surface plasma resonance is a collective oscillation of a conduction band electrons that are in resonance with the oscillating electrical field of incident light, which will produce energetic plasmonic electrons through a non-radiative excitations. Thank you.